Big news today as the Gators finally have their linebackers coach. And y'all, it is a power move by Billy Napier. So Florida's next linebackers coach is going to be Ron Roberts, according to multiple reports. I'm also told that he will likely get the co-defensive coordinator title to go along with this. More on Ron Roberts, though. Who is he? Well, y'all, he is the current Auburn defensive coordinator. He actually has head coaching experience as well. He coached Delta State at the Division II level, as well as Southeastern Louisiana at the FCS level. His overall record as a head coach was 89-45. He is a 31-year coaching vet. Prior to being DC at Auburn last year, he was at Baylor coaching inside linebackers and as well as their defensive coordinator. His second season as defensive coordinator at Baylor, they went 12-2. That was in 2021, which is Baylor's most successful season ever. They ended up beating Ole Miss in the Sugar Bowl, and they were pretty good. They led the conference in interceptions. They had 19 that season. They led the conference in turnover gained, turnover margin, and defensive touchdowns. So he knows how to coach defense. And, again, he was at Auburn last year, and Auburn certainly had their ups and downs under Hugh Freeze, but they held Georgia down for most of that game, and same thing with Alabama as well. Now, the better athletes certainly took over later in those games, but Auburn's defensive play was definitely not the major issue. And Roberts also played a big role in flipping Jamonta Waller from UF to Auburn. So interesting point of note there as well. Auburn flipped multiple defensive commits, and Roberts was a big part of that, but now he will be at UF. When I found out about this, I called a booster at Auburn and talked to him a little bit about it and said, hey, is this something where you guys were looking to maybe part ways with him? And he said absolutely not, that he felt like Roberts overachieved with the athletes he had on their roster this year and that he was very surprised that this happened. Auburn was 45th in total team defense, 41st in scoring defense. They had the 21st ranked defense in the country for FPI, and SP Plus, Auburn had the 24th ranked defense after the regular season. So how did Ron Roberts get on Billy Napier's radar? Well, he was his D coordinator at Louisiana Lafayette. So there is some familiarity there. And, outside of the fact that they know each other, they have a relationship, the part of this that I think is even more exciting is the fact that Austin Armstrong was a GA for Ron Roberts in 2018. Austin Armstrong really considers this his mentor. And that is going to be really important because if you're going to bring in somebody with experience, I honestly think this is really the only way you could do that. Think about this. Billy Napier knows he wants 30-year-old Austin Armstrong as his defensive coordinator. So he's left with a couple options here. Do you let Armstrong fill his staff with younger guys who are going to look up to him and don't have a whole lot of experience, but will absolutely work well under a 30-year-old defensive coordinator? Or how do you go about finding a seasoned veteran coach to also kind of help groom Austin Armstrong along the way, but that won't get their feelings hurt by having to take some marching orders from Armstrong himself? Well, you go find his mentor. And then you partner them up, right? And this is a great resume piece for Ron Roberts. His GA has become a defensive coordinator in the Southeastern Conference by the time he was 30. That's a feather in his cap, right? And so now he has the opportunity to work in a more of a peer-to-peer relationship at Florida with Austin Armstrong. And honestly, this is pretty brilliant on Napier's part. He did need to bring in somebody with experience. He did need to bring in somebody that's a really good recruiter, but it's such a tough balance to find somebody who can put their ego aside and work with a 30-year-old defensive coordinator. This is such a good matchup, though. I love this hire. I think that Napier really kind of thought outside the box here. Obviously, there's some familiarity with them having worked before, and I think this could work. All right, guys, we're going to get right back to this linebacker coach's hire. But first, do me a favor. If you have not subscribed to the channel, do it right this minute. Hit that button. We're trying to hit 10,000 subscribers as quickly as possible. We're only about 800 away. You can help me get there. So if you enjoy this content, you want to see a bunch more, there's going to be a whole bunch of updates coming soon. Hit the subscribe button right now. And Coach Roberts is walking into a very talented but young and inexperienced linebacker room. He's got Shamar James, who will be coming back from that dislocated knee. He is probably the quarterback of the defense, right? He is the shining star of the linebackers room. You've got Miles Graham coming in, who is a stud athlete, shouldn't take a whole lot of development, should be able to see the field immediately. You're getting Pup Howard coming over from South Carolina, who is going to be game ready. He's already played for South Carolina. There are some young and hungry guys waiting in the locker room. And, I think that's got to have been appealing to Roberts. So, guys, all in all, this was a great pickup. I know a really long period of time, it felt like anyway, passed. And I'm sure that there were kids on visits from the transfer portal, really just kind of wanting to know, okay, who's it going to be, And I know if you're like me, during early signing day, I kept thinking, man, Auburn is taking our lunch money. Here they are stealing the recruits that they want from us. And there's nothing that we can do about it. But turns out Billy Napier was playing chess and not checkers, because one of the main reasons those recruits flipped to Auburn will now be wearing the orange and blue this fall. So again, Billy Napier has a plan. This was a great day for the Gators, and now that coaching staff is filled, and now I can start to move forward on recruiting and then also developing that room. We are still looking for guys in the transfer portal. Don't forget, the regular signing day is still coming up in February. There are some spots in that class that could still be filled with some of the bigger names that are out there. So now it's time to turn our focus to that. And you're already starting to recruit for 2025 as well. Knowing who was going to fill the coaching role at every single open position was huge. That piece of the puzzle has now been filled, and Florida can move on and focus all of their energies on recruiting and developing spring ball. Good work by Billy Napier, bringing in a coach with a ton of experience, somebody that's going to be familiar with this system, familiar with the current defensive coordinator, multiple other members of the staff. This was a really good pickup. And y'all, it's a great day to be a Gator. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll have more updates for you soon, because I'm here and there's going to be some transfer portal names popping pretty soon. Stay tuned. Go Gators.